First and foremost, Happy New Year's, everyone tuning in. It is January 1st, 2026, and this is going to kick off a massive year, hopefully in the crypto markets, but on top of that, definitely in the prediction market sector. If we just look at the growth numbers in prediction markets and how many people are making just absolutely tons of money trading on Kalshi, Polymarket, etc., I think there's so much opportunity for us in 2026. In this video, I'm going to go over some current markets that are going on today and over the course of this next week, things to be on the lookout for, tools to be able to use to your advantage, to be able to do research and make sure you come out on top on prediction markets. A lot of people, they do markets, they don't really have an idea of what's going on. If you find your niche and you stick to it, you can absolutely be successful. We're going to go over a ton of markets in today's video. Without further ado, let's jump into it. And before we jump into the content, guys, be sure to drop down below on YouTube, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We are live multiple times a week, dropping 4 or 5 videos every single week to make sure you are covered across crypto and prediction markets. If you're watching on Twitter, please, or I guess X now, please like or hit the retweet button. It does help us get in front of more viewers. And on top of that, of course, a big shout out to our sponsors on the prediction market content, which is Kalshi. You can literally deposit $10, trade $10, and Kalshi will give you $10 back. So basically a completely risk-free trade. If you sign up with Kalshi down below in the link in the description, and you can get $10 just for trading $10. So they will literally double your account. So check out the link in the description. Let's jump into it. What's going on, 𝗏𝗏𝗏? Happy New Year, and Happy New Year's to everyone tuning in. I think it's going to be a massive year and hopefully crypto. I hope we have a better year, but on top of that, I think that there's so much fun to be had in the prediction market space. If we just take a look at the volume over this last quarter, it's been pretty ridiculous. All-time high volume here in December. And to me, I think that that's a crazy stat because I feel like December was kind of slow. Other than a couple of Trump speeches and stuff like that, I feel like a lot of people usually tune out during the month of December, but the prediction market metrics are showing that this market is definitely not slowing down. So we have some stuff going on today that I do want to dive into. I want to review some of our current positions that we are in. And on top of that, give a few trades out going on this evening. So let's just move over to the portfolio quickly. I want to start with some existing trades we have here. I'm waiting for payouts on a few of these mention markets here. I had these mentions last night in the Texas-Michigan game, and I came up $1.50. If I wouldn't have lost this one here on schedule, I figured they would talk about these team schedules next year, but they did not say the word schedule, so that kind of cooked me. I lost on airball in Golden State versus Charlotte. I'm also waiting on payout here from roughing the passer in Iowa and Vanderbilt. But looking at our existing trades, I did just hit no roughing the passer on the Texas Tech game. I have Houston Rockets tonight, which we'll talk about in just a second. And I'm waiting for payout on the roughing the passer pick from earlier today. But one I did want to kind of go over here is the passing yards leader for the NFL. We had taken this trade a while ago. Right when we started these streams, we took Dak Prescott to lead the league in passing at this point in time. What's going on, Adrian? Happy New Year's, my friend. Good to see you in the chat. We had Dak Prescott here at 40 cents, basically. So 2.5x on that investment if he does lead the league in passing. If we take a look at the stats here, Dak Prescott is leading the league, but only by 34 yards over Matthew Stafford. It does come to a point where it might be worth hedging a little bit. So obviously, like, our risk on this was $50. You could easily cover this. If you were to just put, let's say, 50 here, you have a risk-free $11 profit because Matthew Stafford definitely has more to play for this weekend than Dak Prescott does. So that's something to definitely keep our eyes on. If Dak Prescott plays, like, he might also sit out. Like, he's the best player on the Dallas Cowboys as far as most important to their future success in their, whatever success the Cowboys can have, because the Cowboys are just always disappointing. But regardless, Dak Prescott makes the whole thing go. So I think that he's going to be very important to watch. If he sits out on Sunday, that's going to be an easy, you need to go in on Matthew Stafford. But if you're going to do that, you would have to make the decision before Dak Prescott's ruled out, because obviously Matthew Stafford will pass for 34 yards. So that's a decision you have to make. And it might be something that I do hedge. You can get away with guaranteed profit if you just take both sides of this market. So that's something I'm absolutely taking a look at here. Katsu, Happy New Year's as well, my friend. I hope 2026 treats us well across prediction markets as well as crypto. Please give us a better year in crypto, because, that was not fun. And I'll obviously, I'm happy to talk crypto with you guys, happy to talk prediction markets. Anyone in the chat, just let me know your thoughts, comments, etc. But let's just go look at what's going on today. I'm just going to go to the homepage. Obviously, college football playoffs are going on right now. In 20 minutes or so, 12 minutes actually, this game does kick off. We have Alabama playing Indiana. I'm staying away from the straight up picks, especially heading into 2026. Like tonight, I do have a basketball game. I'm taking Houston over Brooklyn. I think Houston should be way higher priced, like 90%, and they're at 82. So I feel like it's good value. So that is one pick I'm on tonight, the Houston Rockets to beat the Brooklyn Nets. But for the most part, like on the sports, just who's going to win a game, it falls way more under the category of just like sports betting. And that's much harder to conquer than doing your research in these mention markets. I mean, mention markets, I think, is really where you can find your edge. We can see here earlier today, we had this mention market, and the one that we had was roughing the passer, and we had no. So that one did come through, which is very nice, but we didn't really go hard on it. I mean, we only made a couple of dollars on that one. But if we go to the mentions and we look at Alabama and Indiana, we can see here some of the almost certainties that they say in most college football games. Heisman, they'll say the Heisman in this game because Indiana's quarterback won the Heisman Trophy. That's an easy one. If you just want literal low-hanging fruits, a free 2% on your money, you can put your whole portfolio probably on the word Heisman. They're going to say the word Heisman because the quarterback did win, but that's not what I'm looking at here. We can see here transfer always gets said because the transfer portal is so popular. And I wouldn't be surprised if, all of the, 3-4 of these of the 90%ers get set in the first 5-10 minutes of the game. So those are definitely guarantees. But when we come down here and look at some of these other ones, I think that there's a pretty good potential edge here. So number one, we're looking at Hollywood at 48%, which is kind of, I don't know, it's interesting. Like if we just, look at, I'm going to go Google. I know the Rose Bowl is in California, but, we look here, Pasadena, California. Like, are they really going to say Hollywood here? I don't think that Rose Bowl is synonymous with Hollywood. That's just my thought. And I don't know, at 50-50, I might be willing to say no on Hollywood. Because that just doesn't make much sense to me. This is Pasadena, California. This is the Rose Bowl. This is a spectacle in itself. I don't think they're going to say we are in Hollywood or Hollywood anything. I do think they're going to say Southern California. I think that's a pretty good pick if you do the yes on Southern California. We are at the Rose Bowl here in Pasadena, California. Southern California is the setting for today's matchup between the Alabama Crimson Tide, whatever. I could totally see that. But Hollywood, I don't know. I kind of like Hollywood. I'm going to take Hollywood for 25. No. So I have no on Hollywood. What's up, Hitman? What a year. Yeah, good and bad in some ways. Crypto could be better, but it is what it is. We digress and we move forward. I'm going to go Hollywood no, just for $25 on the no during the Alabama and Indiana game. Moving on as well. I like playing the roughing the passers. As we can see here, roughing the passer is 18% currently to the yes. I would probably play this during the game, though, and we won't be live during the game, but this is one I always look for. If roughing the passer is in the 70s, I'm taking the no. So you can also set limit orders here, guys. So, if you want, just like in crypto, you can set, long leverage buys, leverage sells, etc. in a certain way, but not leverage on Kalshi. You're literally just putting a price in that you want to take. So if you want literally like 75 cents on roughing the passer, you can set a limit order. And if it goes to 75 cents on the no, then it will actually execute that order for you. So that's one I'm looking at as well. I love playing the no roughing the passers, especially in high stakes games. Last night, I hit on 2 roughing the passers that I took. And then today in the early playoff game, Texas Tech versus Oregon, I also hit the no on roughing the passer, and that did come through. So definitely one that I'm looking at. I do want a little bit of a better price, though, because 25 will only return you $4 at this point in time. So that's one I'm going to wait on. Turf is 50-50. Is the Rose Bowl a turf field? No, the Rose Bowl is a high quality, meticulously maintained grass field. Okay. I know turf is a tough one though, because they could literally be like, a lot of these teams play on turf and this is natural grass. Like that could definitely strike. So that's one I'm probably not going to take at this point in time. The Super Bowl is in California, but it's in San Francisco. They totally could say yes on Super Bowl. Definitely, I could see that, but that's not one I'm going to take at this point in time. Wind/windy. What's the weather? Weather in Pasadena, California. 62. A little bit of rain, mostly cloudy. Winds are not a factor. So I don't know. I feel like they'll say wind, though. That is one I actually kind of like the yes on. They say wind on indoor games. There have been games inside a dome where they have said the words wind. And also, from a perspective, they could also say wind, like the quarterback winds up or whatever. Like that does qualify under the Kalshi rulebook. So I'm going to go yes on wind. They always say the word wind. They're going to line up for a kick and they're going to be like, the wind's going this way, or there's no wind, it's not windy, etc. So I'm going to take yes on the word wind. Also looking across the board here, they didn't say schedule in a couple of these games this week. Let me look at this morning's. I have not looked if they said wind or if they said schedule. No, they did not say schedule in this game, which is interesting. I kind of like schedule no. Let me go look at the odds again on that, or the price. Schedule no. And you don't even have to put too much on that one. That can return you 20 on schedule no. They want to focus, the college football playoff right now, they want to focus on what's happening now. That's what I've learned over these games is they're not talking about the schedule because they don't want the conversation of, oh, who should have been in, who should have been out, strength of schedule. That doesn't matter anymore. It's about the game on the field right now. And even if they talk about who's next in the bracket, I don't think they're going to say on the schedule. I don't really see that happening. So I'm going to put 15 to net 35 on no on schedule. And then, like I said, I will be looking out for roughing the passer no if it does get a little bit cheaper. 84 cents just isn't a good ROI to me at that position. So I will wait on that currently. And I wish my positions from earlier today would pay out. That way we had a little more free cash in the current portfolio. But nonetheless, we move on. I'm going to go to the next mention market in college football today, which is Ole Miss and Georgia. I think this is going to be a great, great game. Same kind of thing. The 90%ers, as usual, freshmen. Lane Kiffin will definitely get said because he's the old coach who just left Ole Miss for LSU. Caesars/Caesar. So this is one I've noticed usually does very well. If we go look at my plays from last night's games, We can see Camping World Stadium. That was a win because they were playing. I said yes to the word Camping World, and they were playing at the Camping World Stadium. And given the fact that the Caesars Superdome is a pretty notorious college football venue, there's been classics at that stadium. That's definitely one. And it's almost like the broadcast gets like, I don't want to say they get paid to say, but usually they always say, we're back at the Caesars Superdome for the kickoff of the second quarter. That's all you need. Caesars could be a pretty good one here, but at $25 only nets you $4 profit. I do like Caesars though. If you're willing to stomach the risk, I think Caesars does come through. Going down the ladder here, Heisman is an interesting one. Obviously, none of these teams had Heisman. Well, I guess Stetson Bennett technically was a Heisman candidate, but I don't know. I like the no a little bit there, but I'm not going to take it pregame. Looking at the schedule, I like schedule no as well here. I'm going to do the same amount, just 15 to win 32 on that one. So that'll be about a 2x if we do come through and hit that. So this is the interesting one here, is wind/windy in an indoor stadium. They've said it so many times inside of, different stadiums. Wind's not a factor, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. That's one I'm going to monitor during the game because I will be watching these games. I love college football. And that's why I did want to preach on, when you guys are playing in these different markets, make sure it's stuff that you pay attention to, have a passion for, because you'll find the best edges in things that you actually care about. You watch Sunday Night Football, or you watch the NFL, or you watch NBA games. You know the tendencies of what each team does, and you can also play that to the strengths of when you watch games and you know what the announcer's dialogue is typically going to cover. So this is why I love sports mentions and Trump mentions, and using tools like mention metrics, for example. This is great for Trump speeches. Like, you can find so much data utilizing stuff like this by just researching, putting a word in. How many times does Trump say the word Biden every speech? It's like 2.5 times every single speech. So this is why mention markets are so interesting to me. In this one, roughing the passer's a little cheaper. Honestly, I am going to go Caesars, yes. I'm going to put 50 on Caesars, yes. And because I'm willing to take that risk. I think that they will 100%. We're back for the second half here at the Caesars Superdome, or when the sideline reporter cuts in, talks to the coach, and they come off of a commercial break. They'll usually say, yeah, we're back at the Caesars Superdome. I just spoke with Kirby Smart, the coach of the Georgia Bulldogs, and he said he wants his guys to play better defense or whatever. So I'm just giving you live examples of how that could play out. So in this night game tonight, Ole Miss, Georgia, I'm taking yes to Caesars for 50, and then also no to schedule at 43 cents. So those are a couple of plays across the two games tonight. And one of them is about to start right now. So that is one I will be looking out for. As mentioned, we hit no roughing the passer this morning. And, right now we have a few in play at this point in time. So currently we have no to Hollywood in the Rose Bowl. We have no to schedule because I think they want to focus on what's currently happening at this point in time. And then yes to windy. I just feel like it's been a big topic of conversation on social media today about the weather in Pasadena, California. So that's definitely something I am going to take a position on. Looking ahead, I'm not sure when Trump's next speech is, but I'm going to find out so we can live stream those. I think the best time that we've had on these streams is when Trump is speaking. Jerome Powell's FOMC, that was a fun time because we're actively live trading what these people are saying. So let me see here. When is the next Donald Trump speech? ChatGPT can usually come through and give us a little bit of info on when that's going to be. No official public speech currently scheduled. Yeah, but he always pops up randomly. And after the new year, he's definitely going to get back on his rampage because right before the Christmas time period, Mr. Trump was speaking every single day, which was an awesome time period because we were able to take advantage on tons of Trump markets. Because like I said, these tools that we can use here, like word economy. I'm just going to use a random word. Speakers, we're going to go Donald Trump. Categories, select all, anything. And then we will add. So Trump says, for example, the word economy only 0.9 times per speech. So you can use these tools to your advantage, which I think was what makes mention markets the one with the most edge and the most unique type of market on Kalshi. And just looking ahead, there's so many new markets now, given the fact that we are, in the brand new year. Who will release a new album this year? I think there's a couple guarantees on this. If we look here, wait, who will release a new album this year? Show me. Hang on now. I mean, Drake is going to drop his album this year, Iceman. But is he not on the list because they basically know he's a guarantee to drop the album? More. Like, where is this guy? Drake's definitely dropping his new album this year because he was going to drop it at the end of this year, but it's delayed. That's an interesting one. Hang on. Okay. Is there like a search? Yeah, there is a search function because I'm like, yeah, Drake's at 91%. Okay. Well, that's free money if you were to have the stomach, but it is a little bit too high priced. A little bit too high priced. Please change the name of your channel. Yeah, we might be doing some sort of a rebrand throughout this year, but at the same time, like, I am still a believer in crypto gaming. Unfortunately, crypto gaming just hasn't really materialized, just as what it is. I was one of the very first to cover that back in 2020, 2021 time period. And, unfortunate to see where it is now, but it is what it is. But yeah, I've been talking about a little bit of a rebrand on the channel potentially. So sometime this year, we might pull the trigger and see some new names and branding across the channel because I do more so cover broader scale crypto now rather than just crypto gaming. So, but yeah, just looking at the market too, the market's looking a lot better. I mean, tax loss harvesting is over. People are going to stop selling their altcoins. They're going to stop dumping their altcoins. We can at least pray, right? Fingers crossed that the crypto markets give us a little more to work with in the year of 2026. And yeah, hopefully you all tax loss harvested properly because there was plenty of opportunities to do so. Yeah, I think for me, those are the things I'm looking at today. Whenever it comes to the mention markets, I like the football games tonight. I like the Houston Rockets. That is certainly one that I like tonight at 83 cents. I think it's worth the risk. So that's one I am taking, the Houston Rockets to beat the Brooklyn Nets tonight. And then in the Rose Bowl, we have no Hollywood, no schedule, and yes to wind/windy. And then up here tonight in the, I think it's not the Sugar Bowl. That's the, which bowl is it? I neither here nor there. But the Ole Miss and Georgia game in New Orleans tonight, I have yes on Caesars/Caesar because I think they'll say the name of the stadium. And I have no to schedule at 53 cents. Pretty simple plays tonight, but this is what we have on the docket. And I do think that moving ahead, we will try to time up these streams with speeches because it makes it so much fun, interactive in the audience. And I know it's January 1st as well. So there's really not a lot that's going to be going on Christmas, in between Christmas to January 1st. So I think moving ahead in the month, we're going to have a ton of fun. And also we have a free product launching around prediction markets, completely free. So over the next week, that will roll out and you'll be able to access this free product, hopefully give you a big edge in the prediction market sector, feeding you guys tons of information, analytics, different trades to take, where the big money's moving. I think it's going to be something that you guys are going to absolutely love whenever we do drop this. But I'm going to keep it short and sweet today because it is New Year's Day. That's what we're looking at on the docket tonight. Couple mention markets and a basketball game result. If you are on Twitter, like the stream down below, and on YouTube, of course, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to be dropping so many live streams across prediction markets and also videos just going over certain strategies to be able to take advantage of. If you want to have higher risk, if you want to have lower risk, whatever the case is. So we're going to be coming out with tons of prediction market content here on the channel. And of course, we have a video coming out tomorrow around airdrops in crypto. So 2025 was a decent year in crypto airdrops. We had, you know, I think Hyperliquid was the year before, but we had Aster, we had Meteora was a massive cook, especially because we got in early on Meteora during the meme coin craze. So that was really good for us last year. But I think there's 10 airdrops this upcoming year that you should be farming. And I think 2026 airdrops could even materialize even better than 2025. So we'll cover that tomorrow here on the channel. I will see you guys then. As always, like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all tomorrow. Trade responsibly, my friends. Stay bullish, and Happy New Year's.